Manny comes in with a question about computer system requirements for games, and this is a topic that we have talked about endlessly. A few years ago it was 4 cores is all you need for gaming, and then more recently 6 cores is all you need for gaming. And then a few people are now saying, well, okay, maybe 8 cores is all you need for gaming. Oh, really?
Manny says, thank you Manny by the way, the system requirements for some of the new Unreal Engine 5 games that are coming out, like Immortals of Avium, which require a 12900K and an RTX 4080, or a 7900 XT for 60 FPS at 1440p high settings.
Buy Windows 10 Professional for $15, activate instantly online with Microsoft, and keep it forever. Don't pay full price. Get the best deal from our sponsor, urcdkeys, using our link in the video description below. Full details on how this amazing deal works at the end of the video. 6 cores, huh?
Yeah, that'll do it.
8 cores, huh?
Which requires a 12900K. Well, that ain't 6 cores.
Now, in fairness, this game will run on less, but it will run
still 8 cores on low
less.
detail.
We'll get there. I'm going to show the system requirements here in a second. Was it 2 years ago that we first did the reaction to Unreal Engine 5?
Oh, was that 20 or 19?
We did a reaction to Unreal Engine 5 when it first came out with the cave demo that was kind of the Tomb Raider looking demo. And
it was impressive.
Rogue's first reaction was,
everybody's going to need way more computer than they think they will to run these games at some point.
I have been promoting that for a while now. Mm-hmm. How long have we heard the mantra, 4 cores is all you need for gaming, 6 cores is all you need for gaming? Fine. 8 cores is all, nobody needs more than that. That's just stupid. 16 core CPUs for gaming are ridiculous. Really?
Here's a 96 core Threadripper. Here's
Yes.
an 80 core Beast Lake.
Now look, this does not mean that every single game is going to require this.
No.
This does not mean that everybody has to upgrade tomorrow.
But this is Unreal Engine 5. It's new Unreal Engine 5. And so moving forward,
This is where it's going.
this is where it's going. If this is where it's at now, then where's it going?
And keep in mind that system requirements are different than recommendations. Typically, game companies put the lowest possible system requirements they can because what do game companies want to do?
Sell games.
And you can't sell games if you tell everybody they can't play their game.
Correct.
So they fudge it by going, well, you can technically run this on a Core 2 Duo.
What a Core 2 Duo.
I kid, but sometimes system requirements are an awful experience.
So we're just going to write Unreal Engine 5 on a potato then?
Yeah. Where's Ian when we need him?
I know.
So recommendations are better. I typically like to say whatever the system requirements are, add 50% to them to get like what'll be a good experience. Mm-hmm. So this game, it's very small print, so I'm gonna have to scroll around a bit. Now, if you're okay to run at low detail at 1080p, 60 frames per second, you in fact do not need 16 cores. I'm just gonna zoom in this a bit because it is really tiny. Why don't you read this off, my love?
We have got for the GPU a RX 5700 XT 8 gig. We've got an RTX 2080 Super 8 gig. The CPU is a Ryzen 7 3700X or a i7 9700.
All right, those are 8-core CPUs.
They are 8-core CPUs.
Do you notice that there are no 6-core chips even at low detail 1080p?
That's what I observed.
And how many people have we seen say, well, I just bought a Ryzen 5 7600X because it's all you need for gaming?
Well, they ain't playing this game, are ya?
We legitimately had somebody a week or 3 ago put was it a 4080 or 4090 on a 7600X because he says, I'm playing at 4K and CPU doesn't matter. Huh. funny a funny thing happened on the way to that insanity.
All right, what's medium detail?
So medium detail
Is 1440p, 60 frames a second. They're recommending an RX 6800 XT 16 gig or an RTX 3080 Ti 12 gig. And the CPU is a Ryzen 7 5700X or an i7 12700K. Interesting on these 16 gigs of RAM.
The 12700K is what we recommended for our $1,000 build the other day.
It is.
It's 12 cores, 20 threads. It's 8P and 4 E cores.
Correct.
And it's nice, but I mean, at $220, it's not super premium anymore. And those two chips are about the same price. And 5700X is 8 cores, 16 threads, but it's Zen 3.
Yep.
Notice the graphics cards are fairly decent.
Yeah, medium detail.
Medium detail, 1080p, 1440p,
40p.
60 frames per second.
Correct.
That is average, which means your 1% lows might be 30. Which means the frame rate is really doing...
That doesn't give you...
Now, before we go any further, somebody is bound to say, yeah, but Tech, that's just a developer that doesn't happen to optimize their games. They don't know what they're doing. Okay. You know what? You might be right. I don't know for a fact that this is a developer that just doesn't know how to optimize their games. There are games that are poorly optimized. I understand that point. However, would you please tell me where I can buy the optimized version of the game?
No, you can't.
So if you want to play it, it's like, I remember when Cyberpunk came out, people go, well, it's broken and unoptimized. Yeah, but if you want to play Cyberpunk, this is the copy of the game you can play. There's no other... Now, it is much better optimized. Cyberpunk actually runs much better than it used to be.
It does.
So they fixed that.
High detail. Here we go. High detail, 4K at 60. You'll need an RX 7900 XT 20 gig or a 4080 16 gig card. And for your CPU, they're still at a Ryzen 7 5700X or a 12700K.
Those are some pretty monster graphics cards.
For 4K, yeah. 70 gigs for the size of the game.
But if you want to crank it up, there you go, my love.
You need some... Oh, Ultra.
I scrolled over.
Oh my good Lord. Ultra, 120 frames a second. Hallelujah, sister. All right, 7900 XTX and crank it up to a 4090. And the CPU, Ryzen 9 7950X3D or an i9 13900K.
KS, actually.
KS even.
You don't need a KS. I mean, the K would be fine. So, and honestly, even a 7950X non-3D would probably be fine.
Ultra is just, yes, please.
That's 4K 120 frames per second. Average, which probably means 61% low. But now, 6 months after the game is launched,
it should be better.
It'll probably get optimized. I do think it's interesting. These performance requirements are with FSR and DLSS turned on. If you look at the bottom, that's with upscaling set to quality mode.
Oh yeah, right down there.
So DLSS or FSR in quality mode. These are not native resolution runs.
Yes. It says upscaling can be configured further or disabled.
4K with no DLSS.
16 gigs of RAM. Woo. Good luck with that.
So, looking for a Windows 10 or 11 product key, but you don't want to spend $100 to $200 for it? Our sponsor, urcdkeys, provides discounted Windows keys at amazing prices. $15 for Windows 10 Professional, $21 for Windows 11 Professional, and just $60 for Microsoft Office 2021 Professional Plus. These product keys are the real deal. They activate directly with Microsoft Online, link to your Microsoft account, and they work forever. For Windows, you simply go to Settings, Update and Security, Activation, click Change Product Key, paste the key provided by urcdkeys, and in seconds, you're activated with Microsoft. For Office, go to setup.office.com, sign in with your Microsoft account, paste the product key provided by urcdkeys, and then download Office 2021 Pro Plus directly from Microsoft. Remember to use the discount code TD20 to save 25% off the already deeply discounted prices and support our channel at the same time. We have been using product keys from urcdkeys for almost 5 years now without any issues and encourage you to do so as well. Look, the reason we're talking about this, it's not, I want to be 100% clear. People who own a 6-core CPU do not need to immediately throw that away. Not everybody wants to play this game.
Nope.
Not everybody wants to play every new game that launches every 5 minutes.
Correct.
If you play older games, if you play esports games, if you play World of Warships, World of Tanks, if you play Overwatch, if you play Shadow of the Tomb Raider, your chip's fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
You don't have to replace them just because something new came out. The people who need to pay attention to this are those who go, but there's some really cool stuff coming out with the new, game engines and all the new stuff and technology. I want to play this stuff. And of course, as you saw, you don't need a 12900K. The Ryzen 7 5700X, how much have we recommended that chip?
A lot.
Okay. For people on a budget, if you want to play at 1440p, 60 frames per second, a 5700X is fine. And it will continue to be fine for several years. But so many people think that resolution is graphics card only. But what happens when you go up in resolution is old games didn't care about resolution because the assets were like limited to 720p or 1080p.
Not these
and
ones.
so more resolution didn't inject higher assets. But one of the reasons why games are so big, like Starfield's 130, 140 gigabyte download,
Yep.
is they're putting 4K assets in.
Well, they're putting real photos in there. That's where the
Right.
photorealism
The textures
is
are
coming.
much higher. The
Yep.
polygon counts are higher.
Yep.
So if you run some of these games at 1080p, medium to high detail, you are literally getting a different game with different assets than if you run at 4K Ultra. Because at 1080p, the game will load a different set of assets in the world than it does at 1440p and than it does at 4K. And so you need a lot more CPU to move all that data around and to process it, which you didn't used to need in older games that didn't come with different asset sets. That's one of the reasons why these games are so freaking big now. It wasn't that long ago that 20 gigs for a game was a big deal. But now, 100 is nothing.
No, it's nothing. That's why I was quite surprised that this was only 70.
Yeah, until the DLC comes out.
Until, yeah. Correct.
So, Manny, thank you very much for the comment. Thank you for the support. We appreciate it. To everybody else watching, just keep in mind that the 2010s was stagnant and boring with 4-core, 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 4-core. Intel was asleep at the wheel. AMD was DOA. Nothing was happening. Ryzen showed up and changed everything, and we are back on the train of rapid progress. The idea of, I'll just buy an i5 and keep it 7 years and it'll be fine, does not apply the way it did 10 years ago.
It's very true.
Thank you for the question. Hopefully that was useful to somebody. But it's always interesting to see what different requirements are. And I am excited to see what Unreal Engine 5 does once more developers get games out. Because they started developing 2 or 3 years ago. Now we're starting to see the games come out using all that cool tech.